Hello everybody, welcome to the second video of Friday. No, I have not had a haircut. You've had a haircut. How'd you like that for an Uno reverse? I need an Uno card just so I can do something interactive with videos. And welcome to what is a Cavalier slash, well, I think it's Thronebreaker mainly, and I will be developing something, how I do like a Cavalier kind of guide sheet type thing. Link is in the description, by the way, if you do want to go and check this out. And we'll go over some path options and then some counters for the boss if you want to check it out. There's going to be tons, and I will need to add to this, but the problem I was having is that, you know, time is going on and I haven't made this type of video, and yeah, like time goes on, like 24 hours in MCOC is like, feels like it's been a week. So yeah, I want to get this done. I will do a version 2 in a week's time, so look out for that. In any case, champion options, 1-2 punch. Science-based champions, there's loads of options available to you, whether or not you go with Cav Difficulty War with any kind of science champion getting weakness debuff on the enemy, Immortal Abomination, Void, Human Torch, Wasp, Spider-Ham, the list goes on. Champions, Yellow Jacket, you could have as well anything with Mr. Fantastic like She-Hulk, that usually works quite well. There's a ton of options for that. Boss for 1.1 is Ghost. Now for this, again, it's up to you like how you tackle this. I didn't think it was like super ridiculous, but there are a few little kind of things that come up now and again that's a little bit annoying. Stun immunity, right, that is annoying that the champion gets. Also encroaching stun. Every 20 seconds the attacker becomes stunned for 3 seconds unless they are performing a special attack or special attack 1 or 2 when the timer expires during the stun, and the attacker's armor rating is doubled. So I would say during this, like, shrug off champions, maybe the best options unless you want to rotate. And I used Magneto for this. I didn't actually like using Magneto, and I think when I go back, I'll be using champions that shrug off that stun effect so I could be aggressive, or look towards keeping the enemy champion to an SP1, and then going, right, as soon as they throw the SP1, where's the encroaching stun timer? Hit, 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 hit. It's coming close to it. Boom, hit a special attack off. Don't have to worry about it. It's up to you how you want to take this on. You just got to watch out for encroaching stun. Have stun immune champions as an option. And watch out, you won't be able to parry the enemy. So watch out for that. 1.2 is antagonistic, and this one is all about mutant-based champions. I do find that doing the parry heavy and then being aggressive with the unblockable can see the AI just interact in a very weird way. It's going to be something that I'll be talking about in a future video. But using champions that build prowess quickly or have prowess as part of their kit means that you'll be getting more fury passive to prowess ratio to do more damage in general. Kitty Pryde Apocalypse, Magneto, if you're going against hashtag metals, Bishop, Colossus, Omega Red, the list goes on. Any kind of mutant, you know, there's loads of mutants there. It's just a case of like how much of potency you want to have. Prowess champion or mutant, non-prowess champion. Your choice. MCOC, slightly annoying, does have bob and weed and be like water in that whenever the defender is inflicted with a non-damaging debuff, they gain an unblockable passive for 8 seconds. Now, there could be some ways of doing it. I'm going back into on this champion with White Magneto. I want to try, because White Magneto will give a passive parry, which will be a passive effect. It shouldn't be a case that it pings off as a non-damaging debuff by proxy. So using any kind of like hashtag meta or hero champion could be an option to take it down, in theory. So I might look to use the following, like also Falcon, Mole Man, Hercules, because they deal with the auto block that the champion has. Hashtag metal. Standard red Magneto could be an option for it. Again, it's up to you. Auto block counters that do non-damaging debuff damage. Again, another option. I do put another tab in which has about auto block counters, if you so wish to check that out. But yeah, I kind of think that those are some good options. I'm going to definitely try out White Magneto with a few other different options, like White Magneto and a auto block champion, so White Magneto and Falcon, for example, and just see if that works. Like, I haven't tested it out, but in theory it should work, because it's you know, that passive parry is a passive parry, it's not a debuff. 2.1 now, and this one is all about hashtag Avengers / tech champions. It's up to you how you want to approach this, whether or not you have tech champions that don't crossfight with the Fury passive, or if you want to use hashtag Avengers. Again, it's down to you. And there's so many options if you want to like use against this. Namor, Falcon, Cap Infinity War, because they're hashtag Avengers. Hulkbuster, Scarlet Witch Sigil, Scarlet Witch OG, I actually really like using on this one, and tons of other kind of power control based champions or power control tech champions, which can be very handy whether you go Penny Parker, Nimrod, Warlock. Again, it's down to a personal preference of who you're choosing for that. Boss time. So your boss is going to be Diablo, and with Diablo, this one I would say, like, I tried out Kingpin and that worked fine, but you could have gone so many different ways with this one as an option. Because the champion has contagion, so you'll be poisoned, and that'll interact with some stuff with powering up the champion. So watch out for that as well. Throwback, which has a purifying debuff equals damage enhance passive. That's for you, actually. So that's for you as a player. But watch out for resistance is futile. So that will get basically power up the champion. Sorry, getting confused with those things. So yeah, it's up to you whether or not you want to go down the route of poison immune options for this one because of contagion. Or I would say because of the way that there's some interaction with stuff. You may want to be like, okay, do I want to bring a skill-based champion? And that will play into things like debuff synthesize. So a skill champion that can throw a bleed effect, which then kind of interacts with stuff. Again, it's up to you with that one. I personally would be going back with Kingpin again, but also I'll consider a poison immune option, or go down the route of either Valkyrie Crossbones, Jabari Panther, Misty Knight, Korg. I might even throw Nick Fury in. I've heard Nick Fury is rather good for this as well. So there's lots of options to play about with this one, depending on how you want to approach it. 2.2 is the second tactical based interaction with nodes. You can use cosmics, by the way, and the other one, yeah, you can use text. But with the cosmics ones, if the attacker is cosmic or has tactical edge, they gain 2 cross charges each time they use a special attack or punish the defender's special attack, which is great. Kind of plays into stuff. It's up to you whether or not you want to go the tactical route or the specific type of class route. That's again down to a personal choice with it, especially because to kind of mention, each cross charge grants 30% attack rating after winning a fight. Attackers with tactical edge convert up to 5 cross charges, so there's a bit more kind of bonus there for that particular element. Now, champions options wise, yes, cosmics, or you can go down the route of She-Hulk, Cat Marvel movie, Rogue, Scarlet Witch, because they're part of A-Force, New Avengers, Fantastic Four, or you can even go down like heal blockers route. Again, personal preference for this as to like who's your options. Hyperion could be a cool option. Depends really, especially when you go into like Thronebreaker difficulty. I have used 5 stars. And they do the job. It's just a case of like the chip damage through the block is kind of annoying, but it is what it is with this stuff. And in a boss side of things, this is a little bit of annoying of a boss because the champion has root. Also, if you get buffs, your stun effects will last longer. If you don't have any buffs, your stun effects are going to last a lot less, which means parrying is going to be a little bit of an issue. Also, power through sickness, so don't get debuffs on you because it will power gain Titania. Easier said than done. For this particular fight, I had great success using Kingpin. There are other options, whether or not you want to shrug off those debuff effects that Titania puts on you in order to make sure that's kind of well suppressed. So the likes of Crossbones, Misty Knight, King Groot, ones we mentioned earlier. And also maybe save your special attacks so when you are rooted so that you could throw a special attack to get out of that route. And the final thing is to watch out for the Haymaker, because when the champion comes at you, she's going to have unblockable and unstoppable. So I would say as best you can, it's just kind of like look to where that's happening. I'm very much a case of pushing the enemy champion to one particular side near her wall, because then it means that when the champion comes out at you, then when she has that unblockable, unstoppable, you can just like hold fire a little bit and kind of like just get yourself back towards the end, whilst that unblockable and unstoppable is kind of like duration is going, so then you can then start keeping up the fight again and kind of like rinse and repeat with it. Again, down to personal preference and choice as to like who you use for it. Put other options in the comment section down below. 3.1 time, and this is going to be your skill-based champions, all defenders, thunderbolts, and inhumans. Now, this is all fun and games, isn't it? Especially when it comes to some decent options for this particular path. And you can go down the route of Namor, Ghost Rider, Elektra, Luke Cage, Howard the Dark, Thunderbolts-wise, Red Hulk, Man-Thing, Deadpool, Taskmaster. Some of the new ones have been added to there. Karnak, Quake, Medusa. I gotta be honest, there's some good ones. There's some like other ones as well. More Thunderbolts as well. Abomination, Craven Hunter, America Chavez, and Ghost. So there are some good options there. I kind of feel that it's kind of weaker in options, so you may want to opt for more of the skill element or skill champions to use on the particular route and not play into that crossfight tactical charge type bits and bobs to it. Now, on to the final boss. The final boss is Baron Zemo. This has been causing a bit of frustration for people. There are some really kind of simple options, like you could just say, right, we'll just use Red Magneto for this. I am interested to try out some other stuff because the champion does have this kind of cleanse element to it. I want to try out more of a passive parry type element and bring White Magneto into the fray. I might do some separate videos on this next week. It's just a case of like I want to test up some more theories and other stuff. Watch out for the champion's SP2. Keep the champion to an SP1. The SP1 of the champion is more kind of like slice and no projectiles, which means you can just create a lot of distance and then go back in again to fight against the champion. Watch out for the medium, because the medium is kind of annoying to kind of gauge on it, and you kind of feel like when you're trying to intercept that you're being hit each time, which is a little bit annoying. And also watch out because you will be taunting the enemy, so you'll basically be playing into the cleanse and playing into the champion, which is kind of annoying. This is where, again, other options may be kind of good, like using the likes of, as I said, White Magneto, Red Magneto, White Magneto to unlock #metal and other options. And Apocalypse can be handy to kind of like smash through this champion. Maybe some mutant-based champions are going to be great for this as well. More experimentation. Definitely seen a lot of options for this, but it is a bit of a tricky and annoying fight that you've got to keep on top of and knock down the enemy. That's another important thing as well. And your final path is, or final quest is Occult Equilibrium. This is basically mystic based champions, whether or not you are power controlling and just kind of regenning and stuff like that, and you can look to get yourself part of the interaction with the node. Doctor Doom, Magic Scarlet Witch, OG, Dormammu, Man-Thing, Sorcerer Supreme, Mephisto. There's a lot of champions to take on this. Wong. There's tons, right? Black Widow, Clairvoyant with the Poison Curse. Of course, lots of options for it. It's the boss that's causing a bit of frustration. There's actually like a ton of options to kind of like deal with this. And there's different approaches, okay, with the final boss. The final boss is going to be Absorbing Man. Absorbing Man has a recurring nightmare and also empowered immunity, so the champion's going to build power. As soon as the champion throws special attacks, it's basically mean that the champion's going to regen a lot more and a lot more aggressive with that. And you can find yourself in a loop of problems. Now, I did look at a method of staying into a block a lot more and waiting for the champion to kind of like do a heavy attack, swipe back, go back in again, and kind of creating that as kind of a power control rotation. So I was using Doctor Doom, I was throwing an SP1, then I was kind of staying in a block stance, then I was waiting for the champion to do a heavy attack, then I go back in again, take some power, stay in a block stance, and then kind of repeat that. And I found that there was a more kind of easier way of dealing with that as an option. I did try a few other options as well, and there's a few I want to try. So I want to try out Penny Parker because the Awakened ability does allow for heal block and the champion power controls, which is helpful because you need to suppress power on the champion. Human Torch is the quintessential option in order to get the suppression of regeneration, but also kind of the aggression as well with it. Guillotine 2099, another kind of heal block champions or heal reversal champions could be options. I do want to experiment with that when it comes to the next few times I go in with a few other options. Archangel could be an option because the champion is non-bleed immune for a time. Yes, he does get bleed immunity after and going into a form. So after he throws an SP1, I think it is, he becomes bleed immune. His one of the forms means he can be bleed immune. So you've got to watch out for that. If you think the champion's going to be bleed receptive, yes, but only for a limited time. Then the timer will go off. I've seen Titania put in work on this one. So again, it's up to you how you want to like approach it. It could be a case of the very easy process is to go power control option, get your best power control option. Could be Doctor Doom, could be Penny Parker, could be whatever, and look to do that kind of off an SP1, grab power from the champion, stay in a block status, wait again for the champion to do heavy attack, go back in again. But there will be chip damage, so that's the other thing as well. There's a caveat to it. So again, it's down to you like how you approach this. But do bear in mind the champion will gain power and regeneration, so approach it as you see fit. That's been it. That's been like a little kind of go over. You can check out in the link in the description the spreadsheet, and I'll see you in the next one. I've got to update this, so it's kind of the first iteration, and the second iteration will come soon enough. Cheers, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.